Hello there. I hope you are all doing good today. Welcome to the part 2 of Coping with Grief. My name is Eunice. I'm a life coach from Eureka Global Coaching. I'm also a mental health advocate with certification in suicide prevention. If today is the first time you are seeing a video from us, you can go to our YouTube channel, Eureka Global Coaching, and access other videos on mental health illnesses, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, postnatal depression, among other videos. You could also have a video on triggers of mental health illnesses. Today, I want to talk about grief, and I'm talking about coping with grief. Why are we talking about grief now? We are talking about grief now because 15% of all psychological disorders comes from unresolved grief. So it means that a lot of people are not able to cope with grief, and sometimes it spirals down into some form of psychological disorder. One thing we have to know is that grief is a natural response to a loss of a loved one. It's a natural response, and we all go through it. Everyone you know has 100% chance of dying. I want you to pause and think about that. Everyone you love, every pet you love has 100% chance of dying. So in our lifetime, we may go through some form of bereavement or some form of grief. But how do we cope with this grief? I'm going to talk about 5 things that can help us cope with grief. One of the things is understanding the 5 stages of grief, which I have shared in the part 1 of this video. The next thing that can help us cope with bereavement is understanding ourselves. When you understand yourself and your coping mechanism, you will be able to know whether you would need help from someone else to go through the grief process in a very positive way. If you realize that you are not able to cope with what is happening around you, then you seek professional help. You can get some grief counselors, you can get some therapists, you can also get some life coaches to help you go through the grief process positively. Also, when you understand the relationship you had with the deceased person, it helps you to cope with the grief. Another thing too that can help is understanding the end of the relationship you had with the deceased. This will help you to cope with the grief process. One last thing that can also help you to go through the grief process in a very positive way is to learn to live in your new normal. You have to understand that we are all wired to adapt and to cope with bereavement. However, not all of us are able to cope with bereavement and grief. So there is the need for us to seek professional help when the need arises. I hope this information helps. Have a very nice day.